I never feel that someone and some things have pulled me back. Academics, marks, grades, that is not education. If you are educated, educated means what? ನನ್ನ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪಾತ್ರ ವಹಿಸಿರೋದು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮತ್ತು ಕನ್ನಡ.
Namaskara, Dr. M.K. Sridhar. It's an immense honor to welcome you to our platform, Spark Igniting Minds. You have been an inspirational figure in the field of education, and also you have contributed to the policy of Indian education, and we are really blessed to have you here for our interview on Spark Igniting Minds, and I'm very sure that your insights and your visions that you have for the country will really motivate our audience today, sir. Welcome again to Spark Igniting Minds.
Thank you.
Very few of the Indians have such a celebrated and inspiring journey as yours. You have started from...
You are putting a lot of adjectives to mine.
No, it's not like that. From humble beginnings as a lecturer of the Vijaya College, you have raised to the level of receiving the the highest civilian honor also, like Padma Shri. And how, sir, what moments in your life, what were the turning points or even the whispering secrets that really took you to that level?
Sahana, you know that.
Yes, sir.
I did not plan anything.
Yes, sir.
See, for example, nowadays, these are the days of, you plan for 5 years, 10 years,
Right.
25 years for your life and all
Yes.
that. I did not really plan myself.
Correct.
But it happened. Let me also tell you that how that would happen is you travel a particular stage.
Correct.
Then some development happens. Then you take a call and move in that direction. See, for example, I never imagined someone who was involved in a lot of educational activities, shouting slogans,
I know, yes.
getting arrested,
Going against something. Yes.
and various causes of education.
Right.
I never thought that I will get into a place where I will have an opportunity to be part of the formulation of the national education policy.
It all happens because you had a vision, a greater vision.
In the sense. So that means, what I mean to say is,
you never thought that time that you would be...
time, we went on doing our own work.
Yes, correct.
With all sincerity and with all passion.
Right.
And we went on. That as a duty.
Okay, sir.
As and when it went on, it happened.
Okay.
For example, you said about Vijaya College. Nobody thought that I will get into Vijaya College.
Right.
Then it happened.
Right.
Then when I was in Vijaya College, I never thought that I'll get into Bangalore University.
Okay.
Like that, it started happening. So therefore, to put your question in a perspective manner, I did not plan, and that whispering movements and things like that.
There was nothing like that. Maybe something that inner call is there, no, sir. Maybe that I'm calling you as whispering moments or something like that. There's an inner call always.
There may be inner call, possibly. Let me tell you, it was not a conscious way of journey.
Yes.
I am not saying it is accidental. Again.
But
it has taken a course of things.
Okay.
Then you started joining dots together and you start going further.
Okay.
So therefore, once I look back, I only personally feel this much, that I am blessed that I have an opportunity of doing all this in my life, which will be of some use to a larger society, to the surroundings. That is a satisfaction. So, therefore, once I look back, I never planned myself.
You never looked back.
I never looked back.
Yes.
Okay, it has happened.
And that efforts and maybe the dedication and the inner call and all that took you through.
But one thing is,
Yes.
definitely,
Yes.
once I look back, I never feel that someone and some things have pulled me back. Nothing and no one has pulled me back.
Yeah. Never there was a regression. It was always a progression.
It was always, I always thought things and people and the institution pushed me forward. Nobody pushed me
backwards.
It all depends on how you look at.
Correct, sir.
Not that there are no challenges, there are no anxious moments, but still, ye chal gaya. I say
chalta, right. I mean, it went on like that. But comparatively, like everybody's life is like that. But you stand out because you have reached that level to frame a education system for the whole country. That is not everybody's
part of the team. Part of the team.
Yes.
I did not do that, but I was part of the team.
Right. Then coming to your biography, Sahasrapadi, 1,000 steps. Maybe throughout your journey you have been learning, and this immense learning you have shared in your book, Sahasrapadi. What was the one step that changed everything? Was there any step that changed everything in your life? Or there was any time that you have to pause and witness that time? Is there any moment like that, sir? If you have to
maybe what I feel is during the childhood, my 5 years in a hostel in Chennai, it was a very, very tough moment, very challenging moment. We had lot of challenges.
You were in Chennai also, sir?
Chennai. I was in Chennai for 5 years. Undergoing treatment and then education, all that together in a very good place. But then we had lot of challenges. I think those challenges possibly might have made me to take things in a right spirit. And that changed my attitude. It was an extremely negative atmosphere. But then somehow I think God helped me not to develop that negativity. It developed positivity. I think that must be a
you
kind
became
of
stronger day by day.
And what all the various things that I am now, people say that I have. I think the origin goes to those 5 years. Origin. But I am not very conscious. This is what I personally feel. The second thing is the kind of encouragement and things like that in my immediate family, and especially from my friends, whoever, and the organizations with which I was involved. It may be Akhil Bharatiya Vidya Parishad or RSS. I think all these things have push you towards. And then once it happens, it goes on. Maybe another moment is possibly the 75 to 77, during 75 to 77, the emergency days of Indira Gandhi.
Yes.
We were all extremely active.
And that time you were in ABVP, Akhila Bharatiya Vidya Parishad.
I was, and we were all involved in that fight against emergency and all that. I think that must be another turning point, possibly. That
time you were a student.
I was a student.
In which college?
In the SDGS College, Hindupur. I was doing my BCom at that time. 73 to 76, I did my BCom. So 75 to 77 is what happened. I think that gave a public perception. You know, the public.
That time you thought of what is happening in the country around.
And that gave a bigger platform.
Yes.
That gave us
And a bigger perspective also.
Bigger perspective and all that. And then naturally, when I started my post-graduation university, when I started moving around in ABP, actively going all over the country, meeting people, organizing various things, agitating, all these things cumulatively have contributed.
Yes.
I cannot say one incident or one thing, but all these cumulatively have contributed.
So you may say that getting into ABVP and organizing all such things and that has made your personality
that
and taken
really
to a different
made that
level.
difference. That really made that difference.
Yes.
Because I got an anchor.
Yes.
See, if a plant has to go, the plant has to, if it has to grow, it has to
go around hold on to something. Yes.
Hold on to something. I think that hold on, in my case,
was
ABP, its involvement and things like that. But then that basic thing and then this kind of a thing. And that started opening a lot of opportunities. And I took a call, I put in effort and then it opened.
Okay.
So even, for example, National Education Policy or Knowledge Commission, whatever it is, somehow a call came and I took the call and went ahead. That's all.
For you, that's all. But inside, there is so much of.
I am trying to be very, very natural,
Yes, I know.
I don't have any such. Yes. I planned myself.
No, you didn't plan, but the efforts and the maybe conscious efforts or even unconscious efforts, and the way you thought, never negative, and you were always positive. All this have made you.
And that many people say, to be in the policy, you must be an expert in something. But I personally feel I am not an expert. I have not done great work in education or education policy. But I started understanding society.
Correct.
The people.
Yes.
Their expectations. And what is policy? Policy is nothing but how do you respond to the aspirations of the people. That's all what we did.
Okay.
Whether it is a good policy, great policy and all that. The litmus test is whether it caters to that, caters to the expectation. Now we could understand the people, their expectation, the student community, youth, teachers, colleges, universities and all that. That happened.
Correct.
And all that happened because of my ABP. Because I used to regularly interact.
Correct.
On one-on-one basis, every moment I used to interact.
With thousands and thousands of students
must
of
be
people,
on that. Students going well. And getting exposed to all kinds of problems, challenges, the difficulties. That made us to pick up that. So therefore, looking back, that kind of a thing happened. That's all I can say.
That's a wonderful insight, and you are so humble. Maybe, you feel that way.
That's all.
Yes. Sir, and again, you have been lovingly called as the wheelchair-bound warrior. Wheelchair-bound warrior of education, and you are a symbol of strength, and there is no limitation at all. As you have said, you have always been going forward. What was your wheelchair taught you? Must be it has taught you resilience, or even what is the perception and leadership brought to your life, sir?
See, wheelchair is basically symbolic of wheels.
That's moving forward again.
Moving forward.
Correct.
And, legs are primarily to go forward, whatever it is.
Okay.
But then...
And with wheels you move faster than legs.
Faster. So, wheels have become my legs, kind of. Second thing, what I feel is, if you are on a wheel, how much speed you move around is in your hands. Even when you are on feet, it is there in your hands. In whichever way you want, you can turn.
Correct.
But one thing I tell you, it may look little odd, but this wheelchair bound has helped me in a very significant way. Whenever I used to go anywhere, it caught everybody's attention. I should not see it from that angle. But when you are asking that wheelchair related question, see, it catches your attention, number one. And if I am interacting with anybody who interacts with me, because they will be standing, I will be sitting. So they will turn towards me.
Yes.
This also
they
became
bend towards you. Yes. So you are always in a powerful position.
in a lighter way, I'm saying.
I'm also telling in a lighter way.
And thirdly, whenever we wanted to put across any point, the receptivity was better.
Correct.
Because people see it's visible. And you are easily noticeable.
Right.
You are recognized. Oh yes, like that. It happens.
Correct.
It so happened once Baba Amte had come to Bangalore. Baba Amte. So somebody had organized his lectures and all. And somebody had called me for the breakfast. I went. But then all those people who put lot of effort to bring him, organize and all that. Then in that breakfast, he spent most of the time with me.
Oh, nice.
Then in a very lighter vein, that organizer was telling me, what sir, we put lot of effort to bring him. And I never get any attention, you are getting attention. In the sense, in a lighter vein I am saying.
Correct.
But it happened. So that way, wheelchair started. And there is also, I am also taking the different kinds of wheelchairs that I have used. I have not been using only one kind of wheelchair. It started from a very rudimentary wheelchair, which was completely developed indigenously by my father.
Okay.
He developed a wheelchair. Then there was no concept of a wheelchair.
Correct. When there was no concept of wheelchair, he developed something for you.
Something.
Yes.
A regular chair, that Godrej there, he took tint. That knitted Godrej chair. And he put some 2-3
wheels to it.
And things like that.
And modified.
So, the change of wheelchair, the evolution of wheelchairs, one after another. That also taught me how I have travelled in my life. My life journey was also decoded by those wheelchairs. Recently, I had an occasion to make a presentation in some mobility national level, some conference. So I showed the caricatures of various wheelchairs.
That you have used.
How that needs changed. I presented there from needs angle.
Okay.
But here I am presenting from a life angle.
See, so as a wheelchair evolved, you too evolved with that. That's what I can say. Yes.
So now that I have come up to this stage, now I have a battery-driven wheelchair.
Right, sir.
And that iron wheelchair, a very, very tough wheelchair. From there, how we traveled. If I see that wheelchair which I used to use,
that must be very heavy now.
Very heavy.
You are very light and easily.
I get a feel how did I use all that. Second thing, one more thing of that wheelchair related. Even the person, Mr. Narsimha, who has been with me for the last more than 4 decades.
His devotion is commendable actually.
He actually symbolic of that wheelchair. Wheelchair is a product, is an object. But mere object cannot do anything.
Yes. The man behind
that became personified.
Correct.
And another angle is that wheelchair, if you start thinking, it is not just the wheelchair. It cropped up so many things. So therefore, as you very rightly said, I never thought on this question.
Okay.
Because you raised this issue of wheelchair.
Yes. No, I always think it's so difficult to be bounded throughout life to some chair like that. So that's why this question I asked. And with that, you have really excelled in your life. That you haven't taken it as a drawback or anything like that at all.
I never thought until you asked me a question.
Yes, sir.
I never thought that wheelchair has played such a significant role in my life.
Yes, sir.
First time I am realizing that when you are asking that question.
Right.
So therefore, I don't know, maybe it is part of destiny, Sahana. What kind of things will play a role in your life? See, nobody knows. A wheelchair can play such a role. So, I think that's why, but I never think that, that I have overcome difficulties, challenges, nothing like that. It's सब हो गया, उतना ही.
So then coming to education with a soul, you have always emphasized education is not always about marks, metrics, scores and all those things. So your learning has always reminded everybody that education is for soul. So if you had to tell about that, what does true education mean to you? Take you ahead in the academics, or does it also ignite character and also bring in some...
No, mere academics is not education.
Yes.
And again in academics, marks, grades, that is not education.
Yes.
That is only one indicator of something.
Correct.
You need to have some measuring rod. That's why you have marks and you have grades and things like that. But that is not education.
That's what.
That's why many a time your degrees, your marks, your grades.
There are so many people who must have scored 90s in their life, but still...
no, that's why they are all called educated. But they pose lot of challenge, problem to the society. But then why those degrees, marks and all that have not changed them? It is much, much more than that. Number one. Second thing, education is not necessarily that formal component.
Okay.
That formal thing that happens in a school, in a college, in a university. And I take various courses. I finish my assessment, then I get the result, then I get a degree. That's all one way of education.
Correct.
One component of education. But the real component of education is life.
Yes. Yes.
See, for example, somebody who has not even gone to a school.
Yes.
And
but life has taught him so much.
So,
yes.
See, people have become so wise.
Yes.
And they are able to tell all that. See, for example, I was going for a walk in Lal Bagh. Then I saw someone, I pick up conversation with different people. I was carrying a feeling, killing of animals is bad.
Okay.
Pranivada. Then when I was talking to that person who is from a village, I don't think he has studied. I did not get into the details. I asked him, sir, I had been to a festival in my village and we cut so many animals and we had lunch and like that he was explaining. Then I asked him a question, that, hey, don't you think that killing animals and all is bad and things like that.
It is sin actually.
Then he came out a profound philosophy of life,
Okay.
which I don't think that I would have come across in any of the books.
Right. What did he say, sir?
What he said is, that is law of nature. Sir, you please tell me, I don't kill the animal. But can you vouch for me that you have not killed anything? Have you not disturbed any of the insects? No, that is law of nature. So therefore, he came out with a completely different philosophy.
Yes.
Now, whether I agree or disagree is a different matter. But the point is, I learned something from someone, which I would not have got in this formal education system. So therefore, that is also education. Once I was I go around, when I will move around, I see lot of women, selling flowers, selling vegetables, going around and doing all that. You please see that their determination. They get early and they bring their children along with them. They look after them. They do that. That's also a great education. How do you manage yourself? See,
Yes.
when I am having all facilities, I can do something.
Yes.
But what do they have? I think that's also education.
Their life is really tough.
Tough.
They have to get up early in the morning, go and wait in the market, get those flowers, and also see that the flowers don't.
So what I am
Yes.
trying to say is,
Yes.
if you are educated, educated means what? That is that attitude, that character, that orientation, that perspective. That is real education.
Correct.
If you take Ramakrishna Paramsa, I keep reading this Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharshi. The profoundness of philosophy and their life, it has taught them. But have they gone to any college, university?
No formal
degree?
education.
Nothing of that sort. So therefore, education, let us not confine it to the four walls of the
Schools and colleges.
Schools and colleges.
Yes.
It is much more.
Much beyond that.
Much beyond.
Correct.
And all these things, if you start seeing, you really get educated.
Correct.
The real education happens there in the society, in the interface. But not necessarily. This is only one small part.
Right, sir.
So that is what I feel. It has to ignite you.
And
has to
does
ignite.
our curriculum ignite character?
In a way, is a little
In
lifeless.
a way, it will open your thinking.
It is a kind of a lifeless. There is no life in curriculum as such, in the sense. Here curriculum will not take it. And it is said, mathematics is a great subject. But mathematics, teachers have failed mathematics.
Mathematics teachers?
Those teachers who teach mathematics have failed mathematics.
Have failed mathematics. Why? Why
The
do
way
say?
you teach.
The way you
teach
I
and
know.
you
Many
create-
of the students don't like mathematics, maybe
and they
because
are
of the
afraid
teacher.
of mathematics.
Afraid of mathematics.
So,
That's what. Yes.
This is education according to me.
Yes. That also has to be taught interestingly, isn't it, sir? And it is very important.
Very
Mathematics is very important for life, but that has to be taught interest. Sir, and also you have shaped the nation's future by contributing through NEP 2019. And what was the most difficult idea, or what were the most difficult challenges that you faced during formulating NEP? And what was your favorite idea that finally made into the NEP, if I say? First of all, our audience should know what is NEP, and elaborately you can explain that, and then can go into these questions, sir.
See, basically, when we got independence in 47, we inherited an education system which is formal in nature, which evolved during British time.
We just emulated them. We just copied them.
We inherited that.
We inherited. Yes.
And we started continuing.
Right.
That way, 64 Kothari Commission was the first commission.
Correct.
Which made an effort what kind of education that we need to have. And that resulted in 68 policy, National Education Policy of 1968. That is the first formalized, comprehensive effort to think of the kind of education system that we need to have in our country. Otherwise, we have been following the same British system, whether it is court, whether it is revenue records, whether it is education.
Even defense also.
Till
now it hasn't changed.
Everything is same.
Yes.
So first attempt was made.
Yes.
But then it also happened, that I was actually going through someone who has written, who was the member secretary of that Kothari Commission, Mr. J.P. Nayak. He has written a book in 1979.
Okay.
Education Commission and after. What happened? So he tries to bring out various things. And then the next effort was made in 1986.
Okay.
1986, when Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister, he tried to make some effort, and that resulted in 1986
educational
policy, which was a kind of some small change was done in 1992. After 92,
there was no educational
there was no education comprehensive policy at all.
Correct.
There were only 5-year plans. 5-year plan, there used to be some plan for education. But
and they used to allocate budget.
Budget and for various schemes and all that. But definitely not a serious, a conscious effort was done to come out with what kind of education that we need. 91, the liberalization movement started. And a lot of changes happened in our society, in the entire world, among youngsters. But then, therefore, you started seeing a lot of migration of Indian students going abroad.
Because we didn't have a standard education. And we did not even know.
So, when we got an opportunity in 2017, see, the effort started in 2015.
Yes, sir.
When the new government of Modi came into power, Smriti Irani became the education minister. Then it was called as Minister for Human Resource Development, HRD. 2015, there was a promise in the this manifesto of the party that we will come out with a new education policy.
Okay.
So then they started acting in 2015.
Okay. So she was the one who...
She was the one who started, pushed it. And a lot of things happened after that. But somehow it was not going forward.
Okay.
So in 2017, they appointed Dr. Kasturangan committee.
Okay.
Under chairmanship of Kasturangan, who passed away very recently. And I had the privilege of associating with that.
Okay.
So we did work for nearly 2.5 years.
Right, sir.
And in May 2019, nearly 2 years, we submitted the report.
Okay.
And you may not believe the day, the new minister took over.
For 2 years, you must have researched and gone deep
into... Lot of effort. Lot of effort.
And lot of people must have also been involved.
Lot of consultations. Everything. There are many members with us. And all of us, we made lot of work. And personally, Dr. Kasturangan did lot of work. 2019 May, we submitted the report.
Okay.
And then the Ministry of Education and the government took their own time.
Okay.
And that became as a policy on 29th July 2020.
They executed it.
Executed it. That cabinet approved that policy.
Okay. 2020.
20.
1
July
year later.
29.
July 29.
29. So it will be 5 years in this by this July.
Okay.
What we have tried to do is basically there are a couple of things that we try to do in that policy. One is the entire gamut of education has been looked in an integrated manner.
Okay.
Otherwise, your primary education is looked separately, your secondary is looked separately, your higher education, your master, all kinds of things. And you also have, especially in higher education, you have science, you have medicine, you have law, you have agriculture, all that.
That time they go for a specialization.
So all these things were there. But there was no integrated policy for all these things put together.
Okay.
So one effort was that we wanted to put in one integrated effort. If you see the report of Dr. Kasturirangan, you will not miss anything. You name it, it is there. That is comprehensiveness, that integratedness is one thing. Actually, it is interdependent. See, your school education is dependent on higher education because the graduates of higher education come back as teachers. And your teachers prepare your students who will get into your higher education.
Okay.
So it's all interdependent.
But this basic education you have made it very strong.
Yes, very strong. The second thing that we try to make it is how do you make Indian education contemporary?
That's very important.
See, you need to make our education contemporary.
Yes.
See,
so much of advancement in technology, in every science, all fields, almost.
And the challenge there was that it was very much regulated.
Okay.
Everything was controlled. So it never allowed any flexibility.
Okay.
A lot of rigidity.
Correct.
And regulation was there, control everything. If you want to make it contemporary, when can you make it contemporary? Only when you allow people to look around. When I don't even look around, I cannot understand what is there. Somebody has given something, some syllabus, I will do it as per that degree. Through decentralization, deregulation, and then the flexibility. And the students, the youth, they have a lot of interest. See, you must allow them to move around.
Correct.
You should not put them.
So that kind of experiential education.
Correct. And then multiple intelligences. That means, there is no part of the brain which says you are a science fellow.
Yes.
There is no part of the brain which says you are an arts fellow. You are a legal fellow. All kinds of things are possible.
Yes.
So therefore, it has been made contemporary in this sense. And if you have to do that, you must allow a lot of autonomy to the institutions. That is
so decentralization.
Everything,
otherwise it was centralized education.
Yes,
especially this ICSE, CBSE syllabus and all are still centralized, I think.
No, centralized, but the delivery, see, I am
what
talking
is centralized education and decentralized, if you can
when I say centralized education, decentralized education, school education is a different ball game.
Okay.
In 64, that Kothari Commission report and subsequently that policy, that is the first time national level curriculum framework has to be developed for school education. School education must be basic to all.
So nationwide it should be common. Yes.
But when it comes to higher education,
Hmm.
you need to take your call, you need to look into your own requirements.
So you mean higher education is decentralized?
Decentralized.
Right.
School education centralized
Hmm.
in the sense of the content, the component. But the administration has to be decentralized.
Correct. That is.
Every state will take a call.
Huh.
And one more thing is, in school education, when you are starting that, any child, when you start, you need to have linkages to the local knowledge,
Right.
local realities.
Okay.
So that's why it happens. So when I say decentralization, I'm referring more of that higher
education. Right.
And deregulation, autonomy, and that flexibility, that rigidity is removed. And you are giving a lot of choice to the students, to the youngsters. And that will make education more and more innovative on one hand, then contemporary. The third thing that we try to do in education policies, whether it is thanks to British or whatever it is, we have completely ignored our own knowledge, our own roots, Indian roots. All these things in the education, when you make it decentralized, if you start giving autonomy, it becomes innovative. And when it becomes innovative, it becomes contemporary.
Correct.
But at the same time, Indian context has other challenges. You cannot only just look at only quality. There is an equity issue.
Okay.
There is an accessibility issue.
Okay.
See, your entire young community is not homogeneous. It is heterogeneous.
Right, sir.
And there are a lot of social and economic challenges for the people and their families. So you cannot apply same rule for everyone.
Okay.
That you need to look into. But while respecting this, how do you bring quality is a challenge. See, in many countries of the world, the so-called countries where we talk about education, quality and all, they don't have these kind of challenges. The society doesn't have these kind of challenges.
Because we have lot of diversity. Yes.
So you need to understand your context in that, what kind of quality you need to bring in.
Right.
So that's a very, very important thing.
Okay.
So even this kind of autonomy, what we said, and that flexibility and the choice is much more critical in a society like ours. See, for example, tribal students. Tribal students come with a completely different background. Then I cannot...
Economically also they are under the weaker...
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Socially, their lifestyle is different. The kind of thing that they have spent is different. How can I club them with the metropolitan city student? Not possible.
Then how do you do that, sir?
Therefore, you need to have that kind of diversity.
Okay.
In education also.
In education also you have.
See, for example, your district, your college has that kind of population. Your students.
Correct.
Then you must have that autonomy to do things according to their needs.
Right.
There is no such thing called as one size fits all. And this centralization and regulation is one size fits all.
Okay.
I very well remember once it so happened, women education. There are a lot of other challenges for women. If I don't consider that and just only give the same kind of quality, global education and all that, how can those people come up in life? Vocational education and your sports. All that is part and parcel of education. See, you need to have that kind of flexibility, that kind of catering to the local needs. So, for example, there is a duration.
Okay. So, how do you cater to them? The standard of education will vary for them?
No,
Or,
it is not this time. See, let me tell you, Sahana, your quality of education is not one
to one
standard.
strata of the society. It is to different stratas of the
You
society.
cannot say it is this is the standard, only standard. See, for example, running a,
Standard has a different definition altogether. Yes.
because you have different backgrounds.
Huh.
In a rural place where women, girls don't even come up to school level, having good percentage of girl student is itself is a great achievement.
It's a challenge.
It's a great achievement.
Achievement having. Yes.
And if they have made them to complete their education, that itself is a greater achievement
Correct.
than you are publishing 100 papers in research journals. So the realities are different.
No.
So you need to have that kind of system which will cater to all these needs.
Correct.
But at the same time, it comes under a framework.
No.
Framework has to be common. But the dimensions and the way you do it has to be different. And the third thing what I said about the complete ignorance of what are there in our Indian civilizational roots, that has been completely ignored. Whether it is our social sciences, whether it is our anything you take. And somehow the things have started moving in a way that anything that you say that it is India, it became a kind of a taboo. We wanted to restore that. See, the entire world is looking towards solution. I think you have a great civilizational thought. You have a knowledge, wealth of knowledge, which can provide solutions to the entire contemporary challenges. That we need to revive and make use of that.
Okay.
So like this we started looking at various things. And then this regulation and all these things have to change according to that.
So this new education policy is catered to all these. That is wonderful, sir.
And one more thing is...
And you also said multidisciplinary also.
Multidisciplinary, I was actually coming to that. See, your law, see for example, let me tell you a classic example of B.Ed college. B.Ed course, that is the program that is being offered. That's offered only in B.Ed college. There only B.Ed is there. No other program is there. Exclusivity. Then education cannot be studied in an exclusive atmosphere. For example, you take law. Law is not just law. Law is sociology, law is psychology, law is criminology, law is political science, law is management, law is philosophy.
They have to know so many things have to be integrated into that.
And your ecosystem, only law. No, it cannot. It should not. So therefore, that wider perspective will be lacking. If you are an engineering student, you study only engineering. Then if I become a
then he will not be a complete educated man.
I can become a dangerous engineer.
Yes, if you know only if you go like this, you will. Yes, it should be integrated. All subjects have to be integrated.
These are the few things that we try to do in the national education policy. Without going much deeper, I am trying to put across the 4-5 the major things of that policy. And you must have a vision for the next 15 to
20 years. We have to have the vision ahead. Yes,
we need to have that vision. And we need to take a call about all these things. It has started happening in a big way.
So this NEP is only about higher education basically?
No, school education.
No, it also covers all education also.
As I
but I have one doubt, sir. Like I have always been thinking about this. Like why they should have in school education, why they should have multiple kind of CBSE, ICSE. What is the difference between ICSE and CBSE? Only there is a few, I mean, they say ICSE is tougher than CBSE. Why should they have that kind of different state board, ICSE board, CBSE board, and then
No, see, the point is, these are all the administrative bodies.
Okay, this doesn't come under the comprehensive education.
Let me tell you, CBSE, ICSE, state board, or whatever it is, they are all administrative.
Can't they slash that and make one?
No. See,
common education.
body need not be same, but the curriculum framework has to be same.
That's what I wanted to say.
That curriculum framework is same for all.
Is it same for
Yes.
all? Okay.
National curriculum framework, for example, after the policy, the national
they
education.
follow NCERT, some other follow
Correct.
state
That is
board.
national curriculum framework.
Okay.
That national curriculum framework 2023 is the basis for all these things, for the various textbooks, for CBSE, for ICSE, for state boards. But they need to take a call. For example, Navodaya Vidyalaya,
Yes.
Kendriya Vidyalaya.
Kendriya Vidyalaya.
All these things come under Government of India.
Okay.
But there are state boards, for example, in Karnataka. The guiding document, the guiding principles are national curriculum.
The curriculum should be common to all boards.
Curriculum framework must be common.
Yes.
Not same curriculum.
Same curriculum.
That's where you come across variation.
Okay.
CBSE board, ICSE board, that kind of variation. You must allow that variation. But framework must be same.
Right, sir.
That is being provided by national curriculum framework.
Okay.
Now the textbooks are happening in a big way.
Now when I see China and all, like China is one nation which is coming up very well. But when I see their basic education, lot of creativity has been given importance. They learn by doing everything more than sticking to their books and this thing. They really work with their hands and learn at the very, very basic level. Why can't we bring such a kind of a change?
Actually, this is our problem also. See,
yes, sir.
This was our challenge.
Yes, sir.
Education means you are making everything academic. So that's why in this policy, we removed the differentiation between curricular, co-curricular and extracurricular.
Okay.
There is no difference. Everything is curricular.
Everything, yeah. That brings the all-round personality of a person.
So you don't say that extracurricular means something extra.
Something extra, yes.
That happens after all.
Correct.
So that's why even in our
so
parents.
all sports also should be a part of the curriculum itself. Yes.
Part of the curriculum.
That's why you said interdisciplinary.
Interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary. See, for example, social work, social service. That should also be, seva must be part of that curriculum.
Right.
Curriculum framework. Everything must be there. Then only it will develop that holistic mind.
Yeah, that holistic is the word.
That holistic mind it will develop. Otherwise, if I am exposed only to one thing, it becomes contracted, limited.
Yes. So you've given a very broad, lot of insights into that new education policy and have made it a kind of a treasure for the country, I can say. Coming to this technology-enabled learning, is it a boon or a burden? Because you are the chairman of Karnataka's committee on technology-enabled learning. And also you have led a lot of debates on that maybe. So how is, what is the balance of using digital tools or the human touch that they experience in the classrooms? How do you bring that balance, sir?
No, actually, it is no doubt a very, very macro issue. But this macro issue has to be handled at the micro level.
Okay.
For me also. I am all surrounded by technology, surrounded by people. Should I say no to technology?
No, you can never do that.
Whilst not saying no to technology, by saying not no to technology, how do I maintain my personal touch, human? That is where the balance comes for myself, personally.
Okay.
This micro issue I am facing, challenge, is at the societal level when it comes to macro thing. So therefore, my point is, you should not say no to technology. You must be amenable, you must know it and all that.
Yes.
And you cannot lag behind. I cannot shut my eyes and say that that cat which shuts its eyes and drinks
Milk.
it thinks that nobody is seeing it.
Yeah, we can't do that.
We can't do that.
Yes.
But at the same time, I need to take a call. As a policy, we need to evolve some kind of policy wherein, it will try to tell you where to do, how much and things like that. Okay. For example, one example is the technology committee, what you were referring.
Yeah.
That
Chairman of Karnataka's Committee on Technology Enabled Learning.
So, one thing that we addressed there was the screen time.
Okay.
How much the child must spend screen time.
Okay.
What should be the ideal? Like that we did. See, you cannot get into the detail.
So, micro things you take and then deal with it.
Then deal with it. That is one.
But human touch is very important. That you cannot. That also you cannot say no to it.
But let me also tell you one more dimension. The dimension is even through technology you can bring humanism.
Okay. How?
Through technology. See, for example, you have an online education.
Yes.
How do you give that personal attention to everyone who is participating? You call them by names, you interact them informally, and you give them activities. Technology enables. So you can maintain that. See, many times, many people reach out to me for various issues. I spend a lot of time on phone. And that phone has developed that technology, human component like very well. I need to know how do I do that.
Okay.
And if I am particular, I will do it. If I am not particular, I will.
But from parents, lot of complaint when during Corona period, when everybody had to take lessons through online only, that really hampered education, I can say that time.
No, that was an extraordinary situation. It was not in anybody's hands.
Right, sir.
See, either you should have stopped learning.
And you can't have only technological learning. Through technology you can't learn.
That's why
completely.
After Corona, post-Corona, behavioral patterns of young people have changed. It has taken nearly 2-3 years to get into normalcy. It's very challenging. Their learning levels are different. And the way they learned is also different. So their own natures have undergone a lot of change.
Yes, students I can see now, because of this technology enabled learning, any doubts, they can put, they can even challenge teachers, because they can immediately go to the Google, check whether the teacher is saying right or not. So these kind of things have made them more open to.
So therefore, the entire technology, if you ask me, we need to have checks and balances for technology. And those checks and balances cannot remain stagnant.
Yes.
It keeps moving.
Correct.
And you must have developed that mechanism. How do you bring your own checks and balances? Your own child, what kind of checks and balance you can have? It depends on the child and the situation. But definitely there has to be checks and balances. Yeah. It cannot be unregulated.
Then coming to beyond chalk and talk, I can name it like that, you have inspired countless students. But we wonder, have students ever taught you, sir?
Actually,
yes.
Every student
if you can share some unforgettable memory where a student has really,
in fact, any number of examples. See,
it's a continuous process.
A continuous process.
Yes.
See, if I have a limited number of instances, I can quote. But unlimited. In fact, from every student I have learned. Not once, on regular basis. Even today when somebody meets me, I learned something. I had made it a practice when I was in the Vijaya College. The outgoing batch, towards the end, I used to share with them what all that I learned from them.
Oh.
I used to share with them.
That's how many teachers do that? None. Yeah.
I used to share.
That's
See,
something
this is what
amazing.
I learned.
Yes.
I enjoyed all that.
Yeah. Learning is from all sides.
All sides, and you must.
And it is from cradle to the grave.
Yes. Every way. So every student is a teacher for me. The student has made me to pick up the life lessons. Every student has made me to learn life lessons.
Yeah, since you have understood them so much, you were able to bring such a kind of a education system to the country.
Yes.
Correct. So, igniting young minds you have been doing from the day you have joined with your teachers college and taking active participation in ABVP also. So, and every spark needs a mentor, I can say. If a young teacher approached you and he said, how do I spark my thinking? So, what advice would you like to give it to them?
First of all, I will not give any advice.
Because all teachers, they are not thought. They're not thought-provoking lessons they give to the students.
See, the first thing, any teacher who comes to you, if at all that happens, I'll first listen to them.
Right, sir.
Not once, multiple times.
Yes.
I would like to really understand where they come from. Then only I can understand what is their challenge.
Okay.
If I don't understand where they come from, I cannot address the challenge.
Okay.
So first you need to understand, and if you have to understand, you have to listen to them.
Okay.
You have to put right, appropriate questions, understand them. Once you understand, depending upon your own understanding and what are they are looking for from you, you'll have to give a couple of small suggestions.
Okay.
I feel personally you can do like this. That's all. No advice.
Nowadays, teachers should be only a facilitator. Because of IT, they get so much of information through technology. And they themselves can study, isn't it? Only we have to give them some thought-provoking questions. And once I was interviewing a missile scientist. What he said was, in today's education, I'm not very happy because it is always still a lecture method. Okay, you have to just change the classroom. This thing itself, classroom structure itself, make them sit in a circle, give them a project, and they have phones, and you give them a project or a question, and then they all have to put their brains and come up with an answer. That's how the education system should be there. That's what he suggested.
No.
And how do you think that?
See, education must be collaborative. It is joint construction.
Okay.
You are constructing together.
Yes.
See, it is not a question of, see, for example, even previously also, why do you say that, teachers have to be like this, like this? We get some all information from Google and things like that, what you said. That learning is available in a public domain. But actually the misunderstanding was, teacher was considered to be someone who will give information to students.
Yeah.
That was never the role of a teacher.
Okay.
That is a kind of a degeneration of the lower level teacher, even before.
Yeah.
Not only now, when technology has come, not only now, even otherwise.
She is not a tool to pass the information. She is much more than that. She has to give the students life lessons also along with it. Yes.
So therefore, you please tell me, anybody who has come up in life, you please ask that person, how did you do all this? The first thing that they remember is the school teacher.
Okay.
Especially primary school teacher.
Right.
And nobody says
Huh.
that primary school teacher used to teach like this subject, that subject.
Huh.
No, they always say how they were human,
Huh.
how they encouraged,
What wisdom they have instilled into their minds.
what qualities,
they carry.
what kind of role
and it
model.
stays.
And even today, great teachers are they only.
Correct.
One who teacher is treated as a teaching a subject. No, that he is not a teacher. He or she is not a teacher according to me.
Yes.
Teacher is something which goes beyond the classroom, beyond your four walls of the subject,
Correct.
and it is again beyond only examination and things like that.
Should not be examination
Teacher is
oriented.
Teacher has to basically cater to the
All
all-round-
types of students
all
also.
types of students.
Because every student is unique. Everybody will not have the same learning capabilities. Some are slow learners, some are, is it not so, sir? Yeah. So coming from Kannada soil, and I mean your voice is echoed all the Kannada corridors, I can say, and you have also reached the national level. You are a local pride and also you have a global vision. So how did your Kannada roots help you to evolve like this?
First of all, mine is a Telugu roots. Roots are Telugu.
Roots are Telugu.
But in the process, ಬರ್ತಾ ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡ ಕಲಿತೆ. ನಾನು ವ್ಯಾವಹಾರಿಕವಾಗಿ ಕಲ್ತಿರೋದು ಕನ್ನಡ. ಈಗಲೂ ನನಗೆ ಬರೆಯೋಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ.
ಹೌದಾ? ಓಕೆ. ತೆಲುಗುನೇನಾ ನಿಮ್ದು ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್? ತೆಲುಗುನೇ. ಓಕೆ, ಫೈನ್.
ಅದೇ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ
But ಆಗ್ಲಿ, even if we go to Telugu, how did Telugu help you? Like, how did your basic education or that thing help you to raise to such a
that gave us confidence. That gave us confidence.
Okay.
See, the entire thing now, whatever I am able to communicate, ಮಾತಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳೋದು, ಭಾಷೆ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು? ಆ ಭಾಷೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬಂತು? ಆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದಿಂದ.
ಮಾತೃಭಾಷೆ is very important. ಮಾತೃಭಾಷೆ. So in the early stages we think in our regional languages.
ಮೂಲ ತೆಲುಗು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಆದರೆ ನನ್ನ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪಾತ್ರ ವಹಿಸಿರೋದು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮತ್ತು ಕನ್ನಡ. ಇವತ್ತಿಗೂ ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮಗ ಸೊಸೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಗುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಆ ಕಾರಣ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ ಆ ರೀತಿಯ ಒಂದು ವಾತಾವರಣ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಆತ್ಮೀಯತೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸರ್, ಹೌದು. ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ತನಕ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ವಿಷನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ದೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಬಟ್ ಎ ಫಿಲಾಸಫರ್ ಅಟ್ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ವಿಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಟು ರಿಫ್ಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರೀಫ್ರೇಮ್ whatever the problem situation arises, you reflect and then again you try to find a solution for that. What is your belief about learning, if you have to say, in terms of problem solving?
Learning is nothing but realizing on one hand. Second thing is, learning is also how people have really come up in their own respective lives. See, for example, for some research project, I was interviewing someone. That person had abject poverty. He had no money. His entire life, he managed only through loan.
Okay.
Only through loan.
Okay.
But in his entire life, he has not defaulted even a single rupee. The entire life he depended on loan, and not even one single naya paisa he defaulted with regard to the loan.
He defaulted.
He never
was
defaulted.
very regular in paying the loans.
That's a very, very important thing. That's a learning.
That's a learning. Yes.
See, when I interviewed that person, when I was writing about that interview,
Right.
it's a great learning for me.
Yes.
So therefore, learning is also understanding about others, how and things like that. And you also learn so much from nature.
Oh, that we can.
See,
Yes.
actually the greatest teacher is nature.
Right.
So you see, even from a small, if you want to learn, sky is the limit. And
Sky is not the limit.
in the sense, if you start seeing, that learning can happen only through this,
Yes.
then you are in for a serious crisis. This much I can say. So, everybody has to learn. Every moment we learn. If I have spent 1.5 hours with you, Sahana, I learned something from you. If your Prasanna is there to handling all that, I learned how to operate the camera from.
Yeah.
See how I need to give a pass when you get a cough.
Yeah.
He did it. I need
Your
to learn it.
flow went away.
No. I need to learn from that.
You will have to learn from that.
So therefore,
Ah.
nobody can afford to say that I have learnt and it is enough. No. Nothing is enough. To the last breath of your life, you need to continuously keep learning. What will you do that with that learning? Is you start spending life in a meaningful way. That's all what happens. It's the outcome.
And that's the purpose of life.
That is a purposeful, meaningful life. See, I have satisfaction in my life.
Yes.
If I have satisfaction, if I am happy, I will also make others happy. If I am unhappy, I cannot make others happy. That's all this life.
And you have received a lot of applaud, like the Rajyotsava Award, then the General President Gold Medal, and finally the Padma Shri. So, which one made you feel like a student again when you were receiving the awards, and how did you feel when you received Padma Shri especially? Yeah.
I never felt anything different.
Anything different. You deserved it and you got it.
No, it was
it's a part of the life.
It is another incident.
Incident. Okay.
Kind of, something, in the sense. What I mean by that, I am not trying to present myself in a little arrogant manner. I never felt anything special. I went and received. That's fine. People started feeling different.
Right.
I never felt any difference.
Okay.
That's why I was extremely careful when I got this award. I need to be like what I used to be. If there is a change in my behavior, in the way I speak and things like that, then my growth has come down.
Correct. And many people, we see that once they get an award, their attitude itself changes. They think somewhere they have reached the top.
See, it is their way of things.
Yes.
It is not my way of things. That's all.
That's your humbleness and your greatness also, I can say.
Sahana, you are doing a good job and you are making people like us to talk.
Yes. Sir, and one last question to you. What is the message that you can give to the people, to the students, and how do you want them to walk in their life with courage?
First of all, I don't have message, but I have a couple of things to share. One is, we should bother more and more about what we have. And we should not bother too much about what we don't have.
Okay.
If I start enjoying and making use of what I have, I can do something.
Yeah.
If I start thinking, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have, then there is no end. Second thing, I need to have that open mind of learning from everyone and from everything.
Yes.
I need to make myself flexible enough in life. See, if I am very rigid, then it becomes miserable. I need to be flexible. That's why I gave the example of a wheelchair. Even in wheelchair, I need to change the wheelchair.
Correct.
So I need to have that flexible approach in life.
Yes, sir.
And third thing, what I feel is, I am something because of, not because of myself, but because of others and other things and etc. So I always owe something to others. Once I start thinking...
And the whole life only you have been doing to the society, contributing to the students, to the education system.
That will happen only when you realize that I have done something.
Yeah.
I have achieved something. I am successful.
Yeah. For everybody they say success, the meaning of or definition of success is different. For you, I mean, there is nothing called as success. You keep going in your life.
There is no
yes.
Success. So that word doesn't exist, success.
Yes.
So it happens.
It happens, that's it.
So if you think that this is success, that will not be a success after some time.
Yes, sir. So what is the unique vision behind Chanakya University, and how do you see it transforming the students?
See, basically whatever I said about the basic characteristics of national education policy, that is in case of a policy.
Okay.
Same things applies to Chanakya University as an institute.
Right.
See, whatever that went into the national education policy, same thing we try to do it in case of Chanakya University.
Okay.
But in a little doable way, in a workable way,
okay,
with our own approaches.
Right, sir.
So it is not something completely different from the national education policy.
Okay.
Unless same education policy. The basic spirit we are converting into practice.
So that will be the best university which carries the spirit of NEP, we can say.
We are doing it.
Yes, and you are
I am
doing
not
it.
saying that others are not doing. I don't know.
But since you are the Pitamaha of NEP, you will know, you will be doing it much better than any other universities. And thank you so much, Dr. Sridhar sir, for being here with us and sharing your insights. And I'm really, really impressed by your humbleness and the way you have given and shared your vision about the education, the country's education. That really will help our the complete education system to look education in a different way, I can say, sir. Thank you so much for being with us.
All the best.
Thank you, sir.